Hi, guys. Michelle, Surf Shrink here. Checking in with you. It's been a while. I went on vacation, and while I was there, I came up with some thoughts that I wanted to share with you, mostly about self care. So, I spent about the past 6 weeks before I went on vacation pretty stressed out, pretty burnt out from my job of doing therapy and just other things going on in the world and with myself and my own therapy. And I guess I didn't realize it, but I was pretty anxiety ridden. I had a lot of anxiety. And what happened was we went on vacation and we went to an undisclosed Polynesian location. It was pretty great. And we went 3 days early. And for those first 3 days, we'd taken away all the sensory input, like emails and text messages. I turned off all my notifications and turned off all my email on my phone and stopped with social media. And I think because, and wasn't really talking to anyone. I was there with my husband, we surfed and hung out. And I think because I took away all this sensory input, I realized, like, oh, what's left? Me. I'm what's left. And the anxiety inside of me was really, really intense. And I couldn't believe how intense my anxiety was. It was like I was bouncing from content to content to content and subject matter to subject matter, worrying about things and obsessing about things. And I was sort of making up things to worry about, without any extra stimuli. I had to make up things in my own mind. And so it occurred to me as I was observing my mind that I had a lot of anxiety, and it was pretty valuable that I was on vacation. So it made me think about self-care. I was we were drinking and having a good time those first 3 days, but I don't think that was really the self-care that I needed. So after those first 3 days, I kind of shut down a little bit on that and went back to just the basics of my own self-care that I've gone to time and time again in my life. And I went back to my meditation. I went back to some yoga flow, stretching in the morning, and back to surfing and being in the ocean. For me, that's super therapeutic. And wow, it significantly changed my anxiety. And it just made me realize that I really need to engage in self-care all of the time. And since I've been back and throughout the vacation, yes, we still drank and had fun, but I continued to wake up every morning and meditate. And, if my husband was still sleeping, I would wake up and meditate and do some stretching and yoga flow. I mean, minor, like 10-minute meditation, 10-minute stretching. It wasn't like anything significant, but it certainly helped and changed my presence, my experience within myself, and how I interacted with the world. It was really, really helpful. So it made me think about self-care and how it doesn't matter what job you have, right? Yes, I'm a therapist, so I'm attending to lots of people all the time. But if you're a mom, you're attending to lots of people all the time. If you're a dad, you're attending to lots of people all the time. And if you have a job, you're attending to lots of people all the time. And then you've got the sensory input of traffic or just the responsibilities of life day in and day out, not to mention whatever baggage you carry from the past. So we have a lot going on in this world of ours. And technology's changed a lot. If you're someone that grew up in the 80s or earlier, it's a lot. I guess people who've grown up more recently are used to it. Maybe they don't realize how much sensory input we take in all the time. So, since I've been back, I've continued with my meditation and my stretching. I also have gotten a little cleaner with my diet. Not that you need to do that. I'm certainly not shitting anyone. But my diet was pretty sloppy, and I think that a lot of sugar and alcohol can make my anxiety worse. Anxiety is something I've struggled with most of my life. I've had some trauma in my life, and when you've had trauma in your life, anxiety gets stirred up, which is probably why the few weeks before I went on vacation, I was a little more anxious because I was sort of re-traumatized from the things that had happened in my life with all that was going on in the U.S. With the Supreme Court hearings and sexual abuse, and that's something that I'd been through. And so I was re-traumatized. So with all of that, we all could benefit from self-care. And you have to find out what's best for your self-care. I think what's really important is some kind of mindfulness practice. That could be yoga, it could be meditation, it could be walking meditation, it could be running. I used to be a runner and I got a lot of mindfulness from running. Could be swimming. When I swim laps and the bubble and the head to the side and the like routine of that is meditative. Could be surfing. I know that when I'm sitting in the water and waiting for waves, it feels very meditative. I'm very in the moment, in the present. And meditation or being and mindfulness practice is really about being in the here and now. So and you can check out one of my other videos about meditation if you want to learn to meditate. So mindfulness practice is a way of training your mind to be in the present. And when you're in the present, there is no anxiety. Everything is fine in the here and now. Like I'm sitting in this room in my office. I have food, shelter, and clothing. I am fine. If I think ahead to a few moments and getting in my car and driving on the freeway, I can create some stress. If I think in the past of unresolved things or conversations I've had with people, I can become stressed or I can become anxious. But if I'm in the present, there is no stress. Because everything in front of me, even the problems that are present in front of me, I can either solve them or I can't. So there's that. So I think a mindfulness practice is really important for self-care. I also think some kind of exercise is important for self-care. Our bodies need some kind of movement. We're humans, and primally, we moved. Now, in a modern society, we're not moving so much unless we force ourselves to move, or you happen to have a job that forces movement. And I don't mean you have to get out and do like hardcore cardio exercise. Everybody has their practice of what movement is for them. But a walk, I take my dog for a walk every day. And walking for me is very, very helpful in my self-care. So mindfulness, some kind of exercise, and I guess the other thing I think is sort of the basics, getting good nutrition and getting some sleep. Most of us don't get enough sleep, and it's hard to go to bed on time, especially if you have a lot to do, taking care of a family. Maybe that's the only time you have for yourself after your kids go to bed. But getting to bed on time is really important, and getting enough sleep. I know it's hard. All of it's hard. It's hard being a human. I have a really good friend of mine who says, being human is tricky. And it really is. But self-care is so important because we can't take care of others if we're not taking care of ourselves. And this is, in my experience, so, so true. As I've come back and met with my clients, I just feel like I'm a new therapist again. I'm present. I'm not feeling any kind of pull to fix or change or having an agenda. And I feel like before I left, I was a little bit, and now I could just really be present with what's going on with them and help them pick the path of where we're going. So that feels better. I'm just calmer in the room. My colleague in the office told me today, wow, you seem so much calmer. You even look younger. What? I was happy about that. Not that being old is a problem. I'm going to be 50 next summer. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Self-care, mindfulness practice, exercise, get to bed, get some sleep, practice some good nutrition, whatever that looks like for you. I think you'll feel good. Just don't forget about this stuff. It's just a little reminder. We've got to engage in self-care. It's really, really important. Even if you don't have kids, even if you just have a relationship or you have friends or whatever's going on in your life, you have to take care of yourself first. And there's just some basic stuff we have to do as humans to care for ourselves that we forget about. And it's easy to let go of those things when you're stressed or overwhelmed. That's the first thing I do, is let go of meditation. But I think it's the most important thing not to let go of. All right, that's all for now. If you have some salt water around, that's a great way to have some self-care. Getting that salt water, it feels so good. I don't know what it is about it, but it just washes it all away. If you don't have salt water around, you're landlocked, that's okay. Get in some kind of water. Get in the bathtub at the end of the day. God, that feels good. All right, friends, I'm on my way. Gotta get home. See you on the other side. Take care.